What's up, everybody? I'm back. I'm Samantha, and I'm a therapist, and I'm creating a video every day for a year. This is video 289. Thank you so much for being here with me, as usual. Thank you so much for putting up with yesterday's video. It was, thank God, not that many people have seen it. It cut off. I think I had about 5 minutes or so of recording before I posted the second half, before the battery just like shut off and died. I think the battery's broken, actually. So I have 2 batteries, but I'm going to just get rid of that one. But anyway, I had said a lot of things in those 5 minutes, and they were supposed to kind of go with that video. So it was kind of it was one of those things I was like, well, this is what's going up today. And so it kind of went along with the whole, show up for yourself, do it anyway. Doesn't matter what it looks like, doesn't have to be perfect. I never once said that anything would be perfect on this channel, but it's perfectly imperfect. And that's what I enjoy about it. It's like I'm just being myself and showing you guys little, glitches that happen as they happen. And that's what life is anyway, is just a bunch of glitches in the matrix. So I just posted it, and I hope some people got some value out of what I did post. But yeah, it was supposed to be a little bit longer than that. But I was like, I'm not recording it again. I'm just going to post what I've got. So that's what we do here. We just do the thing, and we show up no matter what. And so we persist, right? We have to persist in ourselves. We have to get over the habit of being ourselves and become the new self. And we've got to persist in that vision and that dream for ourselves. So what is your vision and what is your dream? And what are you possibly procrastinating on? And what are you waiting to do that you might need to start doing? And Bashar talks about, if you don't know who Bashar is, look him up. I really enjoy his teachings, and I weave them into mine. He's very harsh. He's very harsh and truthful. So I really like him. He's a good wake-up call. And then you can kind of listen to Esther Hicks, and she's a little more, she's a little more soothing. And you can listen to all these different people, and it's so interesting to hear what they have to say, because they all say about the same thing. But some are, their delivery is different. They package it differently. So I really love Bashar when he talks about pain, and how pain is just resistance to being yourself. So if you have any chronic pain, I do. I've got some, chronic pain hanging out in my neck and in my sciatic nerve, I think, is where that is. And so I've noticed that the more I become myself and I do things to show up for me in ways that I haven't before, and in the ways that I would put off and say, I'm going to do this later, I'm going to do this later, I'm going to do this later, which this is like YouTube, for instance. I put it off and put it off and put it off. And so now that I'm doing it, my pain has gotten better, I must say. It's very interesting. And I know I showed you guys a bunch of videos ago. Well, not a bunch. I guess it was a month ago or so. My chiropractor scans from 6 months ago and from February. And they were very much different. They really showed that I've been working on my nervous system and my thoughts, my beliefs, and all of that, and creating peace deliberately inside myself. So I want you to think about what you're waiting to do that you might be needing to start doing. What little step could you take towards yourself every day? And so Bashar says, what is your resistance to being your full self? What do you think that might be? If you could be your full self. And I've thought about this, just what if we all are our true selves? We don't put on this performance and I'll go back to YouTube for just a second. This is something I talked about yesterday, but it didn't get recorded. I thought it got recorded, but it didn't. But how I have been terrified, for years to get on camera, first of all. Second of all, to even talk on camera and listen to myself back and look at myself and all of those things. Fear of just public speaking in general, and just feeling like I had social anxiety and all of those symptoms I was experiencing. And then also building the daily habit has been huge for me, showing up for me. And it's not like I couldn't, I've always been a disciplined person, always. But in this area, I wasn't, because it was something new. And I was just like, how am I going to develop this habit of something that I'm terrified of? And I said, well, I'm going to commit to it for a year every day. And that was the only way I could do it. And so I feel like if I would have done a video every week, it just wouldn't have been as potent for me. It wouldn't have helped me as much. So, and then it gives me also almost an excuse to, like, if I do mess up one day, it's like no big deal. It's like I don't even have to say I messed up. It can just be, hey, I'm going to do better tomorrow, or I'm going to have a better plan tomorrow, or I'm going to make sure the battery's at 100% before I hit record, whatever the case is. So you've got to and that's a good metaphor. Like, make sure your battery is at 100% all the time, as much as possible before you do something. Align your energy. So before you make a decision, align your energy with what you're wanting. And so this goes along with this. Just have to align your energy to be your full self. And how would you do that? And everybody's so different. So it depends on what you feel would work for you. What permission slip, as Bashar says, would work for you. And the permission slip is every technique, every modality, every item, like crystals, whatever the case is, all of it is just a permission slip saying, here you go. Go ahead and do this thing. Go to this appointment, do this, do that. And this will help you be more of your full self. And he says we don't need any of those things. We can always be our full self. We just have to choose to. But sometimes we have fun doing these things, like getting a massage or getting acupuncture or chiropractic care or therapy or whatever it might be, going for a walk, doing yoga, journaling. All these things are just helping us be more of ourselves. And I think they're fun activities for us to do sometimes too. They can be fun. I love all those things. He also says, are you acting on your highest excitement to the fullest ability you can at every moment with no expectation of an outcome? That's the end of that. No expectation of an outcome. And when I started YouTube, I had no expectation of an outcome. I just said, I'm doing this every day for a year and I'm going to show up. And I know that I'm going to be changing during this and at the end. I'm going to be a totally different person than I was when I started. And I know that's so true. And so it's an identity shift. And I do recommend you choose something to do that you want to change and commit to a year of working on it, whatever it is. There's something about that time frame that just really helps for some reason. It's not like I've got to get this done in a month. It's like I have a whole year and I'm going to practice a little bit every single day. And so that's what I decided. I was like, I'm going to practice speaking every single day and see what happens. And I didn't really want to have a script at all. I don't want to be a performer. Even if I do a talk someday on a stage, let's say, I don't want to perform. And that's what's always been hard for me too. I don't want to perform and be fake or something. I just want it to feel like I'm just talking to you. We're having a conversation. And I don't really want to change from that because that's not who I am. And so I just wanted to turn on the camera and just practice. So again, I recommend your commitment to something for a year. Think about what that might be if you were to do that. What if you could do that? Whether it's something like this, or it's something like I'm committing for a whole year of working on my self-concept, how I see myself, how I talk to myself, how I celebrate myself, how I validate myself. And I'm going to practice not needing anything external, but I'm just going to practice giving it to myself for a full year. I'm going to see what happens after that year. Watch what happens. That would be very powerful if you did that. That would be awesome. What limiting beliefs am I going to decide to drop for a whole year and just say, I'm practicing. I'm just practicing the skill of letting go of my limiting beliefs that are keeping me limited when I'm unlimited. Why would I hold on to these lies? So something to think about. And then he also says, what is the worst possible thing you fear might happen if you did act on your highest excitement to the fullest ability you can at every moment with no expectation of an outcome? What would be the worst possible thing that you fear would happen if you did? Isn't that so sad that we have a fear of growing? I talked to someone, I think it was last week. They said, I'm scared that if I become bigger and I grow, I'm going to lose the people that I have in my life right now, including the partner that this person had. And I was like, you could, but why would you want to limit yourself ever? You want to be that leader and the example, be the change that you want to see. And that's what I decided I wanted to do too. You got to be the change. At some point, you've got to say, this doesn't fit me anymore. I don't fit in this anymore. Whatever it is, a relationship, a home, a job, anything. I don't fit here anymore. I'm bigger than this. What do I need to do to exercise my bigness today? And you start going towards that. And that's your new identity. It's your identity is calling you and you're not answering the call at times. And I know what that feels like. And it doesn't feel good. You feel restless and you feel almost like angry sometimes and frustrated. And it's because you're not living up to that potential that you have. And so, and then he said, let's see. He said that the state of being of excitement. So if you're following your excitement, that state would never contain anything that you don't want. And we have to remember that when you really, really think about this stuff and it really sticks in your head after you hear this like thousands of times, hundreds of times, whatever. The fact, like, when you're in that mental state of excitement, true excitement, and you're actually being your full self in that moment, and you're not expecting an outcome, you're just like in that state, you're at the top of that emotional guidance scale of Abraham Hicks's, and you're up there and you're in appreciation and love and joy. When you're there and you're excited about life, there's nothing there in that state that would come to you that would harm you. So there's no fear there, in other words. We just bring fear into it. So if you practice being in that state, then that's when big changes occur and nothing can stay the same anymore. And I've said before how I wonder what would happen. Let's say we all spend 50% of the time, honestly, maybe 50% of the time, let's say, in a state of excitement. Well, what about that other 50%? What if we could like do 100% or 80%, something like that? I think Esther Hicks one time said, if you could at least do 51%, it would start the momentum towards attracting what you're wanting into your life. And you would start to notice big changes if you just went like 1% over and then you practice more and more and more. And really it's just getting out of your own way. It's not really having to do all these manifestation techniques and manifest anything. It's like, it's already manifested. As soon as you have the desire, it's already created and done. So you just have to get out of your own way and let go of doubt. And stay in a state of excitement. It makes sense, doesn't it? It really does when you think about it. If I'm excited and happy all the time, I'm not even happy. I'm excited all the time, let's say. I'm excited, feeling peace, feeling joy, and I stay there most of the time. You notice that you're going to find that most things like that come to you, and your state doesn't droop down much. So I have definitely noticed the more I have practiced this deliberately, it stays up, and it's awesome to be up and down. It really is. But the down times, they teach you a lot about yourself. And you know that, hey, I don't have to stay there when I go down. I don't have to stay there. But you can choose to, because you might feel that, you need it for something. Everybody's different. So there's relevancy for everything in your life. You just get to decide how long you're going to practice whatever that is you're practicing. if it's you're feeling down, you've practiced yourself into that. So we got to get ourselves out of that. We got to talk ourselves out of that. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? What beliefs do I have about this? What meaning am I assigning to this event or this thing or this person or whatever? And we got to shift that to something that serves us instead of hurts us. So yeah, let's see. And then he talks about abundance is the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. It's not just money. It can be gifts. It can be synchronicity. It can be communication. It can be all types of things. Somebody could say, here you go, here's this. And you're not going to turn it away just because you thought you'd have to buy it. You'll be like, no, I'll take that. Thanks. And that's abundance. We are abundance itself. So when you notice all the abundance around you and in you, that can put you in a state of excitement too. And then that's going to attract more and more abundance to you. And you'll watch your circumstances change externally. So this is all done in the mind. Isn't that cool? Like the mind is free. You can think for free all day long. You can think about anything you want. Reminder, you can think about anything you want Nobody is controlling your thoughts. Isn't that awesome? You can literally say, no, I'm not going to think about that. I'm going to think about this instead. And literally shift your attention over to a different thought. That is so cool. And you can just practice it so much that it starts to manifest whatever it is. And it will happen. It's crazy. Let's see. And let's see. There's so much in here, but talking about pain, that might be a different video. But yeah, consistently align and tune to what feels good. Persistence and perseverance to your vision. Oh yeah, this was Abraham Hicks. Don't leave your vortex to convince anybody. Align between you and you. That's all you have to do. Align between you and you. Don't put limits on yourself, and don't leave that vortex. Don't leave that vortex. That vortex is where everything happens. Now, that vortex that they're talking about is just like Bashar talks about, being the state of excitement and following your highest excitement. That's the same dang thing. You're in the state of alignment to you. You're only aligning to you. That's it. And we don't have to convince anybody. We don't have to talk about problems unless you want to. You can do anything you want. Nothing's going to hurt you. There's no need to, there's no mistakes. In other words, if you go one way, there's no way that you can't turn around and go the opposite way, like anytime that you want to, and fix whatever perceived problem was there. You can get through anything. And so that's what I love about this. It's so fun to just play with it and just do and say whatever, and then like go into my mind and kind of like revise things if they didn't go the way that I'd like them to. That's a Neville Goddard technique where you can revise something either right there on the spot, change it up in your mind. If it didn't go the way you wanted it, make it in your mind go the way you wanted it. Or of course, before you go to sleep, just redo your day in your mind. And the whole point of all that is to get you in the state. That's it. We just want to maintain that state, because you know that you've had let's say a high state and a low state, right? You know the difference in between the two. And you'll notice that when you're in the higher state, you've got a bunch of stuff that seems to just pile in at once. You're like, wow, this happened and that happened and this happened. And then when you go into the lower state, you'll notice the opposite happens. The lower state stuff comes to you. And it's like you stub your toe when you get out of bed, and you slip and fall in the bathroom, and there's so much traffic in the morning, and there's a wreck up ahead, and it's just, you get stopped by the train that, you get stopped by once a year on the day that you're in a bad mood. So it's just, we've got to just change our state. And all of these techniques and modalities that we do, they're just to get us in a mental state that makes us feel better. And you can do that at any moment that you choose. That's the coolest thing about this. I love that. It's free and available to you 24/7. So go in your mind and use it as a playground and just fantasize. What would my life look like if I were to, tip the scale from 50-50 being, half and half in and half out, go 100% all in on yourself. And you can choose to stay the same if you want to, but what happens if you go all in? Like, what do you think would happen? Would you feel better? Would you attract everything you've ever wanted? And it's not really attracting, it's just aligning to the self. That's all you're doing. You're seeing yourself differently. You're speaking to yourself differently. And that's why I like to start with self anyway. Neville Goddard said, there's no one to change but self. I totally believe that. I instruct everyone and suggest everyone that I talk to go within and find out, what are my dominant thoughts that I think every day? What are my beliefs about myself? Because those are running your entire life. And those came from childhood. And those came from other events throughout your life that just programmed you. And so sometimes we think we can't persevere either. So, and I'm here to tell you that is just a doubt you've put on yourself, that you've just believed, so many times. You thought it so many times that you started believing it, and it's just a story you're telling yourself. So check in with that narrative you're telling yourself. Like, is this a story that I want to live from, or do I want to live from a different story? and you can change it anytime you want. Isn't that so cool? It's just so great. So I want to empower you to know that you can do this, and you can change your whole life just by changing the way you see yourself and the story you're telling yourself about yourself. It's insane. It's awesome. So yeah, and you got to regulate those emotions. And if you need help with that, I can do a video on that. I just love doing these videos. I've got so many things I'd love to share, but I will stop the ramble. So I'll be back tomorrow as usual. Thank you so much for all your comments. I'm about to respond to some of them. I get like distracted and then I'm like, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. And yeah, I'm going to get better at that. I used to do it every morning, so I'm trying to get back into that routine again. So thank you so much for everything, for your likes, subscribes. If you haven't liked or subscribed, please do if you'd like to. And join us here. There'll be some cool stuff happening in the near future that I'm kind of planning. And I'll talk about that some other time. But yeah, remember you're so loved. Got to say the things I love to say at the end of these videos. You're so loved. Pass it on to somebody who might need to hear it today. It might just be yourself. Look in the mirror and tell yourself, I love you and you're amazing, and whatever else you need to hear that day. Just tell yourself that and pump yourself full of positivity. And remember to appreciate what you, wait, no, that's not right. Appreciate yourself, because what you appreciate appreciates. There it is. I got it. I did it. Okay, I can go to sleep now. The day's over. Yay, we did great. A+. All right, well, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.